Welcome to Private Stories, where people discover who they really are. My name is Ethan Caldwell, and I am 32 years old. If you had asked me half a year ago what my life looked like, I would have told you it was stable in the quiet, dependable way people rarely brag about but secretly rely on. No chaos, no grand romance, no dramatic failures. Just structure. I worked as a financial systems coordinator for a regional insurance firm in Denver, the kind of job where everything lived inside databases and projections, where problems could be solved with logic and patience instead of emotion. I earned enough to be comfortable but not flashy. My apartment was a modest one-bedroom on the fourth floor of a brick building that smelled faintly of laundry detergent and old carpet. The dishwasher kicked on automatically at midnight to catch the cheaper electricity rate. Every Sunday evening my budgeting software recalculated everything: rent, savings, retirement contributions, groceries, color-coded charts sliding neatly into place like a machine reassuring me that nothing was spinning out of control. Those numbers grounded me. If they aligned, I felt aligned too. And at the center of that orderly life was my girlfriend of 11 months, Vanessa Pierce. Vanessa was the kind of woman people noticed without her ever raising her voice. Not loud, not flashy, just composed in a way that suggested she belonged wherever she stood. Tall for a woman, posture straight, honey blonde hair that fell in smooth waves, pale green eyes that always seemed to be assessing something just beneath the surface. She worked in corporate branding, which suited her perfectly. She understood presentation the way some people understand instinct. Friends admired her. My coworkers admired her. Even my older sister, who treated every woman I dated like a temporary hazard, said, "She seems refined, Ethan, that is good for you, you need someone with standards." Back then I thought standards meant she folded napkins instead of using paper towels and corrected my grammar without sounding rude. I did not realize it meant I would always be measured against someone who was no longer even in the room. We met at a coworker's birthday gathering in a rooftop bar downtown. I had shown up in dark jeans and a plain gray sweater, expecting to stay an hour, drink one beer, then leave. She was standing near the glass railing, city lights reflecting in her wine glass, laughing at something a group of strangers said. At some point we ended up talking alone. She asked what I did, listened carefully, then said with a small approving nod that she liked men who were methodical. When I made a dry joke about spreadsheets being my personality, she smiled in a way that made it feel less like a joke and more like a compliment. We exchanged numbers. She texted the next morning. 3 weeks later we were exclusive. By month 4 she had a drawer at my apartment. By month 7 we had routines: Friday takeout, Sunday grocery runs, a shared show we only watched together. Felt easy. Predictable in the comforting way I had always believed relationships should be. Around month 7 was when her name started appearing. Madison. The first time Vanessa mentioned her, it sounded harmless. We were getting ready to meet some of her colleagues for dinner. I had put on a navy button-down shirt I wore for most social events, clean, simple, safe. I stepped out of the bedroom and asked, "Is this okay?" Vanessa glanced up from adjusting her earrings. "Yes, that is fine." Then she tilted her head slightly. Madison used to choose shirts like that for formal casual dinners, but she always rolled the sleeves just enough to show the watch. It made the whole look intentional. "You could try that." Her tone was light, almost absent-minded, like commenting on the weather. I gave a small laugh. "Who is Madison?" She shrugged as if it barely mattered. "My ex-boyfriend. We dated for years. He had impeccable taste. That is all I meant. Everyone has exes." I nodded and rolled my sleeves. The name should have faded, but it did not. It lingered quietly in the background of my thoughts like a song you cannot quite stop humming. A week later we were at a restaurant I had chosen. A small Italian place tucked between a bookstore and a nail salon. Warm lighting, mismatched chairs, nothing fancy but comfortable. Vanessa looked around with polite interest. "This place is charming," she said. "Madison would have loved it. He was always discovering little spots like this before they became popular." She smiled when she said it. Something under my ribs tightened anyway. I told myself it meant nothing. People talk about their past. That is normal. Except it did not stop. Madison had an incredible ear for music. Madison never wore athletic shoes to dinner, even casual dinners. Madison believed presentation showed respect. Madison knew exactly which wine to order without looking unsure. His name slipped into conversations the way seasoning slips into food. Barely noticeable at first, then suddenly impossible to ignore. At first I tried humor. Should I start a "what would Madison do" checklist? She laughed softly. Do not be dramatic, Ethan. I am just saying he had standards. You could learn from that. Standards. The word landed heavier than it sounded. 2 months ago, I finally asked the question that had been bothering me. We were on my couch watching some forgettable series. Her head rested against my shoulder while I absent-mindedly traced circles on her wrist. Why did you and Madison break up? She went still for a fraction of a second. Then she sat up and muted the television. We were in different places in life, she said. He struggled to meet my expectations. Timing was wrong. Expectations. Like standards. She gave a thin smile that did not reach her eyes. You make that sound negative. If he was so perfect, why are you not together? Because sometimes potential is not enough. Then she leaned forward and kissed my cheek. I am with you now. That is what matters. Conversation over. I told myself not to overthink it. Everyone edits their past. Pushing further would make me seem insecure. Then one evening about 5 weeks ago, everything shifted. We were at my apartment after dinner, both half asleep on the couch. Vanessa went to the bathroom and left her phone on the coffee table. It vibrated. The screen lit up. I did not pick it up. I did not need to. The notification preview was large enough. Madison, I miss you. Maybe coffee soon. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like missing a step in the dark. When she returned, I was still staring at the glowing screen. Your phone buzzed, I said carefully. She picked it up, glanced at it, then locked it with a calm motion. Yes, Madison. We stayed friends. Friends, I repeated. You still talk. She studied me, expression unreadable. Is that a problem? I do not know, I said honestly. You mention him a lot, and he says he misses you. Her tone cooled slightly. Ethan, you are being insecure. Madison and I are over. Adults can remain on good terms. That is what emotionally mature people do. Emotionally mature people, I echoed. Yes. You trust your partner. You do not panic because an ex suggests coffee. I swallowed what I really wanted to say, which was that I would not feel like panicking if she had not turned him into some flawless ghost hovering over every part of my life. Instead, I nodded. You are right. I am overthinking. Her expression softened immediately. That is all I ask. 2 nights ago, everything finally cracked. She invited me to her apartment for dinner. She was making salmon with a complicated glaze she said she had learned from a culinary channel. On my way there, I stopped at a wine shop and bought a bottle I knew she liked. She had mentioned it once months earlier. I had written the name down because I am that kind of person. I catalog details like evidence that I care. I set the bottle on her kitchen counter. Thought this might go well with the fish. She looked at it, then at me. This is what you chose. Suddenly I felt uncertain. Yes, it is the one you liked at that place downtown. She sighed, not loud, but long and theatrical. It is fine. Just, no offense, Ethan, but Madison had standards. He never grabbed whatever was convenient. He would spend time selecting something thoughtful. You could learn from that. I stopped moving. For a moment, the only sound in the kitchen was the quiet hiss of oil in the pan. You want me to be more like your ex-boyfriend, I said softly. I want you to care about quality, she replied. You default to practical choices. You do not challenge yourself. I bought something you said you liked. That is not challenging. Do not get defensive, she said, turning back to the stove. I am trying to help you improve. Something inside me shifted. Not anger. Something colder. Clearer. Like someone had finally turned on all the lights in a room I had been stumbling through half blind. Got it, I said. She glanced over her shoulder. Got what? I will work on that. On learning. She smiled, satisfied. Good. That is all I want. We ate dinner. We watched a movie she chose. Halfway through she fell asleep with her head against the back of the couch, breathing slow and peaceful as if nothing about the evening had been unusual. I lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying every Madison comment, every comparison, every subtle reminder that I was falling short of some invisible benchmark. Around 11, her breathing deepened into soft sleep. Carefully, I slid my arm free and reached for my phone. My hands moved before I could talk myself out of it. I opened Instagram, typed Madison Cole into the search bar. He appeared immediately. Public profile. Of course. He was handsome, dark hair, sharp jaw, confident smile, the kind of polished casual style that looks effortless and expensive at the same time. Photos of rooftop bars, ski trips, art openings, friends clustered around him like satellites. He looked like someone who never questioned whether he belonged anywhere. My thumb hovered over the message button for nearly a full minute. This was absurd. Normal people did not message their girlfriend's ex in the middle of the night. This was the kind of impulsive mess I used to read about and shake my head at. And yet, I tapped message. My heart pounded as I typed. Hi Madison, you do not know me. My name is Ethan and I am currently dating Vanessa. I know this is strange and I am not trying to start trouble. I just need to ask you something. Did she compare you to the person before you? She keeps telling me I should learn from your standards and I feel like I am losing my mind. I stared at the words. My finger hovered over send. Emotionally mature people do not panic. Emotionally mature people have standards. I pressed send. The message disappeared into the void between us. I locked my phone and set it back on the table. Vanessa slept beside me, completely at peace. I sat there in the dim light listening to her breathing and the faint hum of the refrigerator, wondering whether I had just destroyed something or finally seen it clearly for the first time. 10 minutes passed. No response. 20. Nothing. By the time I slipped out of her apartment and drove home, the message still showed unread. That night I lay awake staring into darkness, caught between hoping he would answer and hoping he never would. Either way, I had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. The message felt like a stone dropped into deep water, gone from sight, impossible to retrieve, and heavy enough to pull everything else down with it. I woke before my alarm with the sick, hollow feeling of someone who had not really slept at all. For a few seconds, I did not remember why. Then it came back in a rush. The message, the name, the possibility that a stranger held the missing piece of my life in his hands. My phone lay face down on the nightstand like something dangerous. I flipped it over. Nothing. No reply. No notification. Just my own words sitting there unanswered. I showered, dressed, made coffee I barely tasted. In the mirror, my face looked tighter than usual. Faint shadows under my eyes that no amount of cold water could erase. I chose a plain charcoal shirt and dark jeans, neutral, forgettable, safe. Not too casual, not too deliberate. Nothing that could be interpreted as trying too hard or not trying enough. At work, my computer hummed to life, emails piling in, spreadsheets waiting, deadlines blinking politely for attention. My hands moved automatically, sorting messages, flagging tasks, answering routine questions. But my mind hovered somewhere else entirely, over one unread message. At 8:47 I cracked and checked again. Still nothing. By 10 I began to hope he would never respond. If he ignored me, I could pretend the whole thing had been a moment of weakness, a lapse in judgment. I could go back to telling myself Vanessa's comparisons were just quirks, annoying but harmless. 10:19 my phone vibrated. The notification was small, almost polite. Madison Cole replied to your message. My heart slammed so hard it felt physical. I opened the app. His first response was only 4 words. This is pretty weird. A sound escaped my throat that was half laugh, half choke. Before I could type an apology, another message appeared. I do not know you. Why are you contacting me about my ex? What exactly do you want? I stared at the screen for a long moment, considering every possible way this could go wrong. Then I typed, I know it is weird. I am sorry. She talks about you constantly, compares me to you, says you had standards I should learn from. She also said you could not meet her expectations. I just need to know if this is normal or if you have seen this before. The chat went silent. Then the typing indicator flickered on. On again, like he was starting sentences and deleting them. Finally, a new message appeared. Of course, she said that she always leaves out her part. My fingers hovered above the screen. What part? A full minute passed before he replied. Look, Ethan, right? I really do not want to get dragged back into Vanessa's drama. But since you asked, yes. She compared me constantly. Only it was not you. It was the guy before me. The office around me faded into background noise. Keyboard clicks, muffled conversations, the printer grinding through paper. All distant, unreal. She compared you to someone else, I typed. Every day, he answered. Another message appeared before I could respond. He made more money. He dressed better. He knew which wine to order. Sound familiar? My hands trembled so badly I mistyped twice. She said you had standards, that you taught her what quality looks like. That was her favorite line, he replied. Translation, you are never enough, but maybe if you try harder she will approve. My throat tightened. Why did you break up? His response took longer this time. Long enough for dread to creep in. I started noticing things, he finally wrote. Small lies. Stories that did not match where she said she had been. Money disappearing that she could not explain. I never caught her with anyone. But my gut kept screaming something was wrong. Did she cheat? I asked. Maybe. Probably. Eventually it stopped matching. The comparisons, the blame shifting, the way everything became my fault. I realized I was living in a competition I never agreed to enter. My chest felt tight, air suddenly harder to draw in. She told me you could not meet her expectations. That the timing was wrong. Of course she did, he wrote. She cannot say I treated him like he was permanently second place and he finally stopped trying. I stared at that line until my computer screen dimmed. Has she always been like this? I typed. I do not know who convinced her that standards means humiliating your partner into compliance. But yes, at least with me. Sounds like she is running the same script with you. A hollow laugh slipped out before I could stop it. Same script. I thought about all the times I had dismissed the sting of her words. Everyone has exes. Everyone has memories. It was not memory. It was strategy. Why are you still in contact with her then? I asked. I saw your message about coffee. A long pause followed. That was a mistake. I was lonely, curious. She can be incredibly charming when she wants something. You know that. I regretted it the second I hit send. We met once. It reminded me exactly why I left. I should have blocked her years ago. I am fixing that now. I leaned back in my chair, cheap office cushion creaking beneath me. My reflection stared back from the dark edge of my monitor. Eyes wide, jaw tense. A man who looked like he had just realized the ground under him was not solid after all. Thank you for telling me, I typed. I am sorry for dragging you into this. I just needed to know I was not imagining things. You are not imagining anything. You are just where I was 2 years ago. And I wish someone had warned me sooner. This is not about you. This is who she is. The cursor blinked. My next message came from somewhere reckless and exhausted. I want to confront her. I want her to know I see the pattern. Would you be willing to tell her yourself? Even once. So she cannot say I made it up. The typing indicator appeared for a long time, then disappeared. I imagined him scoffing, rolling his eyes, blocking me. When his reply finally came, it was blunt. Absolutely not. I am not getting pulled back into her chaos. I escaped once. Whatever you decide to do, do it without me. Heat prickled at the corners of my eyes. I get it. Thank you anyway. I really appreciate you answering. Another message appeared almost immediately. Ethan, if she is doing to you what she did to me, leave. Do not wait for her to admit anything. She will not. Take it from the ghost of boyfriends past. A humorless smile tugged at my mouth. Ghost of boyfriends past. The rest of the day crawled by and blurred at the same time. I answered emails, sat through a meeting, nodded when my manager spoke, all while replaying every word Madison had written. By the time I got home, my apartment felt unfamiliar somehow. Same furniture, same quiet hum of appliances, but the air felt thinner, as if something invisible had shifted. Vanessa texted around 7. How was your day, handsome? Miss you. I stared at the message, nausea rising. How many times had she sent that exact sentence to Madison? Or the man before him? Did she recycle tenderness the same way she recycled comparisons? I typed back. Long day. Tired. Can we talk tomorrow morning? I want to come over around 10. The typing dots appeared immediately. Everything okay? I just want to talk in person. Pause. Then, sure. 10 works. I will make coffee. I set the phone down and went to stand by the window, looking out over the parking lot where people moved through their ordinary evenings. Unloading groceries, walking dogs, unlocking doors. Normal lives. Normal nights. My phone buzzed again at 9:28. I grabbed it, expecting another message from her. It was not Vanessa. It was Madison. I have been thinking, he wrote. I hate that she still occupies space in my head. But I hate more that she might be doing to you what she did to me. Another message followed. If you really want to confront her, I will come once. Say what I need to say and leave. My hands started shaking. Are you sure? No. But I am doing it anyway. When? Tomorrow. 10 in the morning. Her place. I will arrive at 10:15. You go in first. Send the address. After that, I am blocking her number. And probably yours too. No offense. A shaky laugh escaped me. None taken. Thank you. I sent the address. Then set my phone face down on the counter and braced both hands against the cool surface, breathing slowly. Tomorrow at 10, I would walk into Vanessa's apartment like it was any ordinary visit. At 10:15, the man she had turned into a weapon would knock on her door. For the first time in months, I felt something other than confusion or quiet shame. I felt steady, terrified, but steady. I woke before dawn, not with panic but with a strange clean calm. The kind that comes after a storm has already chosen where it will land. My bedroom was washed in cold blue light, the city outside still half asleep, the hum of my refrigerator the only sound in the apartment. For a long moment I lay there staring at the ceiling, counting breaths, feeling each inhale settle deeper than the last. Today was the day. I dressed carefully but without fuss. Dark jeans, a soft black sweater, clean sneakers. Neutral, respectable. Nothing that could be twisted into evidence of trying too hard or not caring enough. I shaved, then hesitated and left the faintest shadow along my jaw. Not sloppy, not polished, just human. By 9:12 I forced myself to eat half a protein bar so I would not start shaking mid-sentence. At 9:27 I grabbed my keys. At 9:51 I stood outside Vanessa's apartment door. My pulse thudded in my ears as I knocked. She opened almost immediately, smiling in that composed, effortless way that had once made me feel lucky just to be chosen. "Morning," she said warmly, leaning forward to kiss my cheek. Her perfume was familiar, expensive, controlled. "You look nice." I stepped back before her lips touched skin. Her smile faltered, not disappearing, just tightening at the edges. "Can I come in?" I asked. Of course. Her apartment looked exactly as it always did. Minimalist, curated, everything placed with intention. White marble counters, a perfectly folded throw blanket on the couch, a single orchid on the coffee table blooming like it had signed a contract to do so. Everything about her life looked flawless from a distance. Only up close did you notice how rigid it all was. She crossed her arms loosely, posture relaxed but eyes sharp. "So," she said, "what is going on? You sounded serious." I sat on the edge of the couch. She remained standing. "I want to talk about Madison." Her expression did not change immediately, but something behind her eyes hardened. "What about him?" "I messaged him." Silence. Then, "You what?" "I reached out last night." Her arms dropped as if the air had burned them. "Are you serious right now? You contacted my ex behind my back." "Yes." Her voice rose, controlled anger cracking through the calm surface. "That is completely inappropriate, Ethan. That is a violation of boundaries. That is insane." "I needed the truth," I said quietly. "And you think he is capable of giving you that?" She snapped. "He is bitter, obsessed. He twists everything. You are seriously going to believe anything he says?" "He did not volunteer anything," I said. I asked. "He did not want to get involved. He should not be involved at all." "He was not," I said evenly, until I asked one question. "And what lies did he feed you?" She stepped closer now, eyes bright, jaw tight. "That you compared him to your ex before him. Every day. The same way you compare me to him." Her nostrils flared. "That is not true. He said you rewrote that other relationship. Made the guy sound perfect so you could use him as a benchmark. He said you use standards like a weapon. That is ridiculous." She laughed sharply. "He is projecting. He could not handle my expectations." "You told me that already," I said softly. She froze. Something inside my chest loosened. Not relief, not pain, something like release. "You think I have not noticed the pattern, Vanessa? The scorekeeping. The way you elevate one man to shame the next. The way no one is ever good enough. But somehow you are always the one wronged by timing. You are twisting this," she said. But there was a flicker of uncertainty now. "You are letting a jealous ex manipulate you." "Vanessa." I stood. "We are not alone." Her brows knit together. "What does that mean?" A knock sounded at the door. 3 firm taps. She went pale so fast it was almost visible. "Who is that?" "Madison," I said. For a split second she looked genuinely afraid. You did not bring him here. He is here to say what he needs to say. Then he will leave." "You had no right," she snapped. "This is my home. You do not ambush someone like this. Open the door, Vanessa." My voice surprised even me. Calm, steady, immovable. She hesitated. 1 second. 2. The knock came again, louder. She muttered something under her breath and marched to the door, yanking it open with the fury of someone preparing to demolish whoever stood behind it. Madison stood there. He looked different from his photos. Less polished, more human. Dark hair pulled back loosely, faint stubble, deep lines under his eyes like sleep had been optional for a while. Jeans, boots, a plain jacket. No armor. No performance. Just a man who had decided to show up anyway. Vanessa stared at him. "Get out," she said. "I am not inside yet," he replied calmly. She stepped back involuntarily as he walked past her into the apartment. He did not look at me. His focus stayed entirely on her. "You told him I compared you to my ex," he said quietly. "That you could not meet my expectations. That I was impossible. Because you were," she shot back, voice rising. "Look at you showing up here like this. You are acting unhinged." He let out a short, humorless laugh. "There it is." "There what?" "Your script." Her face flushed with anger. "Oh please. You did this to me," he continued, still calm. "And now you are doing it to him." The comparisons. The impossible standards. The rewriting of history so you always look like the victim. It is the same pattern. You have not changed. She stepped toward him. You do not get to walk in here and pretend you did not sabotage our relationship. You cheated. I did not cheat, he said sharply. I caught you lying about where you were, about who you were with, about money. You imagined that. No, I stopped imagining you were who you pretended to be. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for something to grab, something to control. They landed on a ceramic mug near the sink. Her hand twitched toward it. Vanessa, I said quietly, do not. She spun toward me. You do not get to speak right now. Madison's expression did not change. There is the other version of you. I am done with this, she snapped. Both of you leave. No, he said softly. I am done. You will never hear from me again after today. But he deserves to know who he has been dating, what he has been living with. I already know, I said. She turned to me, desperation flashing beneath the anger. Ethan, listen. I am sorry. Okay. I compared you to someone. That was not fair. But this, bringing him here, you are making me look like some kind of... I am done, I said. Her mouth opened, closed. Ethan. No. I stepped back. I spent months trying to meet your standards, trying to be enough, trying to become whatever version of me you might finally approve of. I am done trying. You are making a mistake, she said, voice cracking for the first time. He is lying. He just wants revenge. I want peace, Madison said quietly. That is all. Vanessa pointed at him, shaking. You do not get to. She stopped mid-sentence. The mug left her hand and shattered against the wall. Not thrown at anyone. Thrown because she could not contain what was collapsing inside her. The sound exploded through the room. Ceramic fragments skittered across the floor. No one moved. For one suspended heartbeat, the apartment was silent except for the faint settling crackle of broken pieces. I inhaled slowly. I am leaving, I said. Ethan, wait. And do not contact me again. Please. No. I walked past her. Past the shards of the mug. Past the counter where she had lectured me about quality. Past the couch where I had sat night after night shrinking myself to fit her expectations. I reached the door. Behind me, Madison exhaled heavily. Goodbye, Vanessa. I did not turn around. The hallway outside felt colder, thinner, real. I did not realize I had been holding my breath until the elevator doors closed and air rushed back into my lungs in one long shaking exhale. Relief and grief tangled together so tightly they were impossible to separate. 5 weeks passed without a single direct word from Vanessa. No calls, no texts, no late-night messages crafted to sound vulnerable but controlled. Nothing. The silence felt unnatural at first, like the quiet after a fire alarm stops ringing. You keep waiting for the sound to return because your body has not caught up with the fact that it is over. A mutual acquaintance eventually messaged me. He said Vanessa had been telling people I staged the confrontation with Madison to humiliate her, that I was insecure, unstable, emotionally fragile, that I had ambushed her in her own home. He added that the story sounded incomplete. Like pieces were missing. I did not correct him, did not send screenshots, did not try to defend myself. Let her curate whatever version of events made her feel victorious. I blocked her number, blocked her email, removed her from every platform where she might reappear like a ghost pretending to be coincidence. I archived our photos too, not out of anger, out of disinterest. I did not need reminders of the months I spent folding myself smaller for someone who never intended to see me as an equal. Madison never contacted me again either. True to his word, he appeared once, spoke his truth, then vanished from our lives completely. Sometimes I wondered if he had really blocked my number. I hoped he had. I hoped he found something like peace. I was not dating, not even considering it. I was relearning how to exist without constant evaluation. My quiet returned slowly, like circulation coming back into a limb that had fallen asleep. The dishwasher clicking on at midnight. Sunday evenings spent reviewing budgets and projections. Coffee in the morning without someone silently judging whether I had chosen the right brand. Small things, but they added up to something larger, the sensation of my life settling back into its own shape. Some nights, though, I found myself replaying the moment everything had crystallized. Not the shouting, not the breaking mug, but the instant before that, when I realized I did not need her approval to validate my own reality. Some lessons cut deep enough to leave scars, but they also carve out space for something healthier to grow. I learned that constant comparison is not nostalgia. It is leverage. I learned that standards can be weaponized if they are designed to be impossible to meet. I learned that if someone keeps measuring you against a ghost, it is because they never planned to see you as a full person at all. And I learned that sometimes you only trust your instincts after hearing your story repeated in someone else's voice. Someone who escaped before you did. My name is Ethan Caldwell, 32, single, still healing, but steady, and I do not regret messaging Madison. Not for a second, because that message did not destroy my relationship. It revealed that it had never been whole to begin with. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Visit our channel for interesting and intriguing stories.